Hi, I'm Sid Dobrin. In this video, I'll be talking about the essay assignment that asks students to learn more about the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service's categorizations of threatened and endangered species. I designed this assignment in order to ask students to engage in some traditional academic research and write a rather traditional academic research essay. The essays that students write should be informative and should work to avoid any sense of the argumentative or persuasive. The assignment asks students to examine the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service's list of threatened and endangered species and to select one species from the list to write about. This can be either an animal or plant species, unless, of course, you would prefer to limit students to one or the other. Students should then conduct research about their selected species, taking substantial notes. They should then use their notes to write an informative essay about the selected species. Keep in mind that the assignment asks students to write an essay, so they will need to focus on ways to synthesize their research into an essayistic form rather than a long list of facts about their selected species. When I use this assignment with my classes, however, I do encourage them to consider how the academic essay form can be used to serve their purposes more directly. For example, this is a great assignment to encourage students to think about how they might use visuals to inform their audiences about various aspects of the information they wish to convey. The chapter provides useful suggestions about using visuals to increase audience comprehension, to help clarify, to illustrate, to organize, to emphasize, and to establish authority, and also to reach a broader audience. One of the things I found interesting to do with this assignment is to work with students to coordinate their choices of species and to create a volume of informative essays about a particular category of endangered or threatened species, like perhaps species that are local to your region, or species that are used as college athletic mascots, or species that are not megaflora or fauna, those lesser-known species. This is also an interesting way to address collaboration and collaborative approaches to organizational strategies. As a quick aside to this, a few years ago, I had my students approach this assignment in this way, focusing specifically on animal species indigenous to Florida's coral reefs. I invited an editor from the university press to talk with students about strategies for bringing their assorted informative essays together in a single volume. The biggest snag we ran into was the inconsistency in organization between different writers' contributions. Nonetheless, the students were quite invested in and proud of the volume they produced and distributed to family members, friends, and placed in local doctors' offices' waiting rooms. Of course, this public placement also helped us think a good deal about audience when writing to inform. I'm hoping to use this assignment again soon, but this time having students publish their essays in an online space to which students in classes I'll teach in the future will be able to add their essays. In this way, I'll have students develop a growing database of informative essays about threatened and endangered species. Of course, you may want to do the same thing, whether with this topic or another, or even collaborate across classes or institutions. I'd love to hear from you if you try such an assignment. Feel free to email me at writing_situations@yahoo.com. When using this assignment, it's also useful to make sure students understand just how you'll be assessing their writing. The assessment rubric I've included with the instructor support materials for this chapter can be quite useful for this. With this assignment, I focus on the situational understanding component of the rubric as well as the purpose segment. I also emphasize the knowledge of conventions section and the rhetorical knowledge portion, since the assignment is specific to one particular rhetorical purpose. Talking about the assessment certainly helps students understand what it is you're looking for in the essay, but it also helps them understand what's important in an effective informative essay. So that's a little bit more about the essay project. Thanks for using Writing Situations, and thanks for watching.